All right, welcome back to part 2 of the Why Not Us, Why Not Now podcast. X and KB coming at you as we always do, joined by our special guest, Matt Craig. Always appreciate Matt coming and being a part of the program. And we're going to touch on the World Series in just a moment. I know you guys probably think that we forgot about it, but we did not. But we got some football that we got to get to first because unfortunately the Atlanta Falcons went out to the Bay Area on Sunday, and that just was not a good showing. I don't really have too much that I want to say on this. Matt, you have anything you want to add before we let brother KB let the Falcons know how he's feeling?
Well, KB got beef with the Falcons right now.
All right, KB,
I got more than beef with the Falcons right now.
Let me get out your way then. I'm gonna let you have the floor.
All right. So as X just explicitly said, I'm gonna go and just go on and just go in as well as I can with the Falcons. As a fan for this team my entire life, I'm sick of it. I am sick of it. I'm not gonna curse or anything, so don't worry, but I'm sick of it. This experiment with Zach Robinson and Raheem Morris, it's gotta stop. The Falcons, to me, from what I've seen, have the most predictable offense in the entire league. And it's not just coming from me. I've heard from many people that we know exactly what they're going to run before they even run it. There's nothing complex about this offense. There's no creativity to this offense. We've seen, in the few games that we've seen the Falcons play this season, the offense has struggled in every game except possibly the Washington game. There has not been one game that I can honestly say the offense dominated from start to finish. And honestly, it's time for Zach Robinson to go. We need a new play caller for the simple fact that, and me and you have spoken on this many a times, that pistol offense is god awful. That formation needs to be scrapped and scrapped immediately. There is nothing good that we have seen from the Falcons running the pistol. We know that they're either doing stretch right, stretch left. If Bijan happens to go into the shotgun with Michael Penix, he lines up on the side, we know it's a pass. It's simple things that we're seeing with the Falcons. They have not executed or dominated in any side of football. Now, what we did see on Sunday, for the most part, the defense played okay. Their run defense was atrocious. They could not stop Christian McCaffrey whatsoever. He dominated literally 1 on 11, honestly. He was the engine of that offense. And I think it was just more so the Falcons' defense did not get the support from their offense. When you're looking at Bijan Robinson, certain times I'm scratching my head because on a 4th and 1, why is Bijan Robinson not in the game? Your best player not in the game. And I heard Raheem's response to that when asked, and I didn't like it. You could make up a million things that you want. I guarantee you, on a pivotal 3rd or 4th down, Chris McCaffrey is going to be in the game no matter what. I guarantee you, on a pivotal, you cannot take not even just the best player on your team, one of the best players in the league, and have him on the sideline on a pivotal 4th down when you are down 3 points. You could kick the field goal, and instead you chose to go for it on 4th and 1 with an out route on the right side of the field when you have a left-handed quarterback. I'm not understanding what is their thought process when they're making some of these calls. It honestly doesn't make sense, and we're tired. We're tired. I don't know about any other team and their level of patience, but I think that Atlanta Falcons fans have been, we've been searching for some level of consistency. We've been searching for some year for a team to give us some hope like we had with the year of the Super Bowl. And this was the year, going into the year, we were looked at as one of the surprise teams coming out of the NFC that were supposed to make a Super Bowl run. And it honestly looks like the same old situation. And honestly, I don't see how you could look at Raheem Morris and not look at him being on a hot seat. This does not look good. In a year, a year and almost a year and a half, the Falcons have looked like the Falcons of old. They look almost as mediocre as they did under Arthur Smith. And that's just what it is. The problem with it is Arthur Smith didn't have the talent that Raheem Morris has. That's the problem. And if I'm getting the same result, somebody got to go. Somebody got to explain this to me. X, I'm gonna pass it back to you, but I'm honestly sick in my stomach.
I mean, I don't have too much more to add to that. I mean, I've been saying since the start of the season, the key for this offense to make it go, if you don't have full trust in Michael Penix Jr., which sometimes I do question if they have that, hand the ball to Bijan and hand the ball to Tyler Algier. Even if you do have Bijan on the sidelines when it's 4th and 1, which you shouldn't, but if you do and you've got Tyler Algier in the game, you got to set up some type of formation that gives that big bowling ball the chance to go pick up that first down for you. And that 4th and 1 out route call just baffled me to all hell. I'm sitting there, I'm like, do these coaches actually understand some of the decisions that they're making at times and the pivotal points in the game when they're making them? Because if they pick up that first down, they actually have a strong chance of winning that game. When they didn't pick it up, I said, okay, it's over with. Whether San Francisco scores another touchdown in this game or not, which they did, say it's over. Because your defense also hasn't been able to stop Christian McCaffrey all night. And eventually San Francisco stopped passing that ball with Mac Jones, and they just started giving the ball to Christian McCaffrey every single time. And we saw him chop the Falcons all the way up. So go ahead.
And you're right. But it made sense for them to continue to go to McCaffrey. I would have took the ball out of Mac Jones' hands too. If I'm having so much success in the run game, he's had success in the run game. He even had success in the pass game as a receiver. You literally, that goes back to my point. They made him the focal point of that offense. No matter who's at quarterback, no matter who's playing at receiver, he is the focal point of that offense. But I'm going to tell you another thing. I don't want to just completely put all the blame on the coaching staff when players deserve their equal share of blame as well. Michael Penix, I'm looking at you, my man. You are not going to survive in this league if you don't get more mobile. You have to be able to move that pocket. He is a sitting duck back there. I know about the two torn ACLs in college, but you have to be able to move your feet. Too many times Michael Penix has avenues to run, and yet he still would either try to force something or he's throwing the ball away. A key play in that game was right before halftime, the intentional grounding that they received. Michael Penix not being mobile, he can't get outside of the pocket to throw the ball away to save drives like that. That 10-second runoff when we were in field goal range having to be a key. That was a key play in the game, and we can't ignore this. It was a game where he's looked. We see the arm talent, but we don't see the talent as far as moving the pocket, being able to get outside the pocket, still, look downfield, but just take off. As long as you keep defenses honest, they can't play you in certain ways. But now I think that the way that you scout against Michael Penix is to send pressure and send it often to get him uncomfortable because he won't move. And honestly, that I don't see that serving him or the Hawks well. The Falcons. Sorry, my mind's still in the NBA. But yeah, I don't see that serving the Falcons well going forward if he's not able to be a dual threat, at least dual threat enough to give them different looks for that offense. So I'm not really too high on Michael Penix's play, especially on Sunday. I hope that it can get better, seeing as he is this is basically his rookie season. But yeah, this would be a learning lesson for me.
The Falcons offense only mustering up 10 points in week 7, losing to the 49ers 20-10. Matt, do you have any thoughts on this before we move on to the next topic here?
No thoughts at all other than I agree with it. I understand and see y'all frustration. Me being the Falcons fan, one of the Falcons fan on the call. Obviously, KB is also one. I can see I can hear the hurt in his voice. One thing I will say is that I don't want to give up on Raheem Morris, and I'm pretty sure KB, I ain't speaking for you. I don't think you want to either, but we do have to see some type of results. And then, like you said, back to the players, I just feel like a lot of the players are underperforming that we expected more out of, and we're gonna have to see more from them moving forward, especially Michael Penix, and obviously the one, the only, Kyle Pitts Sr. But me Jr. So that's all I got on it.
Well, they got the Miami Dolphins coming into town next in Atlanta in week 8 on Sunday. And what I will say is, you can't sleep on any opponent in the NFL, but this is one of those games that if the Falcons go out and lose, I would view it as a fireable offense, especially after what we saw from the Dolphins in week 7. They go to Cleveland and they lose to the Browns, another one of the worst teams in the league, 31-6. Tua just played like straight Pua, 12 of 23, 100 yards, no touchdowns, 3 interceptions, throwing them right to the defense. KB, this comes after the mess that he went and made in his post-game press conference last week in week 6, and then how he came and tried to clean it up last week in the middle of the week. But as you can see, it was very much on display. None of those players had his back during all of that, and they honestly didn't look that interested with him being out there on the field on Sunday. He didn't look interested in being out there on the field on Sunday. And Mike McDaniels, I just got to say, what was up with that look on the sideline? Like, it's cloudy, it's rainy out there, and you wearing these sunglasses like the sun's shining straight down on you. Brother, there is no sun out there. That was goofy for you to just stand out there on the sideline and look like that. I appreciate how CBS just continued to pan the camera to him every single time the Dolphins did something stupid in that matchup. So, yeah, if the Falcons lose that one on Sunday, I would say that should be a fireable offense. But jumping away from them, I want to touch on this mess that's going on in Miami. They are now 1-6 on the season. Now, Mike McDaniels, he said after the game, Matt, that he would consider a possible change to the offense and at the quarterback position if it made sense to do so. Well, he came out on Monday and said that Tua will continue to be the guy. What are your expectations for this team going forward?
I can't, in good conscience, pay a quarterback the most money in the league and bench him in good conscience as a coach. That's how I feel. Tua is the highest paid annually quarterback in the NFL right now. With that being said, you're gonna get out there and play. Same thing I said about Deshaun Watson. Once you're healthy, you're gonna get out there and play. And then secondly, Quinn as a 7th-round quarterback is just not that guy, in my opinion. And I've been saying that since he was in college. And I wish Quinn the best. Hopefully one day he can be a reliable starting quarterback. I don't think that's a good option to go through. I don't think the issues are with quarterback. I just think the issues are with the confidence of the quarterback. His skill is there. He proved that he can play. But I just feel like the overall morale for the team is down, and that's causing a stinker for everybody involved because it seems like nobody wants to be there. And my last point towards Mike McDaniel, he's going to be a hell of a offensive coordinator for somebody next season. Don't know who. It's probably going to be the Detroit Lions, if we're being honest. But he's going to be a hell of a offensive coordinator for somebody next year, because his days as a Miami Dolphins head coach has come to an end. He lasted longer than I thought he would. When he first came out and they was talking about all the glitz and glamour of the team, how they was putting up all these points, and how they was decades ahead of people, it caught up to you quick. Time moves fast, as we all know. So going back to them as a whole, it's just time to blow it up and start over. But back to point about the quarterback replacement. I think it's time to blow it up. Go ahead and trade Tyreek. Go ahead and trade Waddle. Go ahead and trade the running back and go ahead and get as many draft picks and clear your cap and start over and just and run it back next season. But you got to bring Tua back, man. I'm sorry, because you're paying him too much money to not bring him back. And then I know, I think KB said it. I think I can't remember as far as going into the draft and getting a quarterback. Unfortunately, this not the draft to want to get a quarterback in. So I feel like at the end of the day, you paid him. He's on the roster. Tank the season and build from there. The last person I want to give a shout out to, and I'm gonna pass it back to XRKB, is shout out to Brian Flores because he told us. He told us. We didn't listen. Well, I can say we didn't listen. People within the Miami's organization didn't listen. They called him a bully. They called him mean. They said, we believe in Tua. We go get you out of here because we believe in this guy to be our quarterback. And he said, that's not our guy. He said, y'all don't pay that guy because he's not our guy. And they went again. They fired him, hired Mike, and Tua, when Mike first got there, oh, I feel so free now. I'm just glad I have a coach that believes in me. He said it's different than having a coach that believes in you and one that doesn't. It's like night and day. Sometimes people, and this is a harsh lesson for us all, especially the younger generation, sometimes tough love is good love. Sometimes tough love is what's needed. Sometimes you don't know the tough love that you need to get you to be the person that you're meant to be until you receive it. And it may be hard at one time. It's going to be tough to receive. And then sometimes you're going to feel like it's giving up. But then when you look back on the person you once was and who the person you became, you realize, damn, they was right. And that's Brian Flores. So I'm going to pass the mic back to you, X.
No, that was very well said, the way that you closed that out, because I'm also glad you touched on the other point of this not being the upcoming draft for the quarterback for them to go get, because my question, KB, would be, who are they going to go get? I don't trust any of these guys that are coming out in this class.
Yeah, I mean, Matt made a good point. Like, shit, with the money that you're paying them, you got to play them. And honestly, because of the cap hit, there's no market for him. The cap hit that you would incur for trading Tua, if there was a market for him, would be way more of a loss than having him out there stinking it up every week. I do think that, I would like to see, as much as we don't believe that Quinn Ewers or Zach Wilson is the guy, I just look at it like there's nothing good going for this team. Tua, his leadership has been awful. His play on the field has been awful. Mike McDaniels has been awful. This whole team has just been a disaster. With Tyreek now gone, I do see Jalen Waddle possibly being traded before the deadline. I do see that. And honestly, if Tyreek hadn't suffered a season injury, I think that he would have also been moved. I see them having a fire sale almost as well as the Jets. I see both of them having no real direction right now. Both coaches being on the hot seat. See both of them moving on. As far as the quarterbacks coming out, the draft is not as deep next year. But the reason for that being is that a lot of the quarterbacks that were hyped up to come out this year, have not lived up to expectations. Not Lagway, not Manning, none of them, honestly. There is not really one standout quarterback that we can look at this year that, like in years past, we know who was a consensus number one pick. Cam Ward, we knew was a consensus number one pick last year. There is no quarterback this year. I was just looking at it from a standpoint where if you feel confident enough that you could start a franchise with one of these guys coming out of college, I say you have to go get them, because there's no way that you can cut Tua right now and take on the loss that would come from that cap hit. There's just no way.
I hear you, but I simply feel this way now about it when it comes to the quarterback position. If you don't have the personnel coaching-wise on your roster to help properly develop them, stay away from them, because you're hurting them more than you're helping them at this point. We're seeing it far too much in the past few years. Even, yes, Cam Ward was the consensus number one overall pick last year. It's not looking good in Tennessee. And I don't expect it to start looking good at any point this season until they get his actual coach in the building, no matter who that's going to be. But I don't know if the Titans organization is capable of doing that.
That's another reason why I say sometimes situation matters more than being the top overall pick. Situation matters more because if you're drafted to the worst situation in the world where you have no weapons, you have bad coaching, you have bad ownership, it's almost like getting set up for failure. Cam Ward right now is being set up for failure. He was never given the weapons needed to be an NFL quarterback, especially a successful NFL quarterback. I look at Tua. These were things that are honestly concerns for me when he was coming out of college. Shorter guy, not super athletic, doesn't have a big arm. And a lot of the things that we're seeing now, they were things that were always there. So I honestly, you can't help but look in hindsight what this team would look like if they had drafted Justin Herbert. Because I'm looking at if Justin Herbert can do the things that he's done with the weapons he has in LA, he damn sure would have been able to do it with the weapons that he would have had in Miami. I can only imagine just trying to stop a team of Achane, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Justin Herbert, and then you talking about some other complementary pieces. Yeah, this was a major miss on their part. And honestly, I mean, this is all hindsight because, like I said, it didn't work out. Neither one of them has won an MVP or a championship. But Justin Herbert, by far, is leaps and bounds better than Tua. That's just solidified now. We don't even have to go and look at revisionist history. That is a solidified fact at this point. So,
the one thing that I'll say about Justin Herbert, him being at 6'5", he would have at least been able to see everybody out there on the field. And I say that because Tua said earlier this week that the reason he wasn't throwing to Jalen Waddle is because he didn't see him.
And that's another reason why somebody like Dylan Gabriel doesn't have the success he had. A short guy like him can't see all of the things on the field like a guy like Justin Herbert. Hell, even a Joe Flacco, taller quarterbacks can see those type of things. And so, yeah, I don't see a situation where the Dolphins can get rid of Tua. I think they just got to ride it out and just they just have to they've been dealt the bad hand. They just have to ride it out at this point.
Matt, you have any thoughts on this before we move on to the baseball world?
No, I don't got any thoughts on it. I think that's everything.
All right, well, it's time to show the World Series some love. We finally know who's going to be matching up. The Toronto Blue Jays winning the American League pennant. The Dodgers sweeping their way through the National League pennant championship series against the Milwaukee Brewers. Let's begin with what we saw on Monday night. Because, Matt, I've been saying it in our group chat, and I'll emphasize it again. I know the Houston Astros had players that they had to pick and choose in between who they were going to pay, who they were going to keep versus who they were going to let go. George Springer was one of those guys they shouldn't have let out of the building. And he proved it once again in that Game 7. I thought that Seattle had that thing basically wrapped up, and then he hits that 3-run bomb in the bottom of the 7th, and he woke that place back up, and I'm like, it's over. And that's exactly what it was. And the Toronto is in the World Series for the first time in 32 years.
Yeah, I mean, we did win after he left. You got to point that out. We did win after he left. So it's like, but keeping him will probably add it to us winning even now. So like we could have still won with him the one we won after he left, and still we could still be winning now. But I do miss him. I mean, I wanted him to stay just like you, but yeah, just to take it away from him and more look at it like an overview picture. Toronto making it back to the World Series. You said when was the last year they made it?
1993.
That is insane. None of us were born. That is insane, man. And I'm just happy for that fan base. I'm happy for that organization. and I'm looking forward to what they would do. I know it's kind of like, people are painting it like a David versus Goliath situation with them going against the Dodgers, but still, the fact that they made it here is a tremendous effort for them. And like I said, I did want him to stay with us, and I do miss him with us. But I'm happy that he found success somewhere else, and he's doing his thing there. And like you said, when he woke that place up, I I I was cheering as if he was still doing that for the Astros. I was like, anytime a player leaves a team that I cheer for, I don't never wish them bad ill. Even if they forced to get out, decide to sign elsewhere, or it just doesn't go the right way with the organization. I wish them the best, and I want them to have success. Now, I want to point out, whenever they do play the team that they left, which is us, I'm cheering against them. But anytime they go out there, I want them success. So I'm happy for him. I'm happy for Toronto. I'm looking forward to the World Series. And I'm hoping we get a good one, X. I don't want anything that's lackadaisical. I want them to kind of live up to the hype that the playoffs have been getting so far. And I really really hope for good. I don't know if you giving predictions today or tonight about what you think how the World Series is going to go. So I don't want to put you on the spot, but I do hope we have an entertaining World Series.
We'll touch on the predictions of the World Series a little later because, like you, I'm hopeful that we can at least get a good one out of it. But even though George Springer had the heroics in Game 7, he wasn't even the best player for this team throughout the series. He hasn't been the best player for them throughout the playoffs. That's been Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who's this postseason, I would say, turned into baby David Ortiz. KB, I just every time he comes to the plate, I'm thinking this is going out of the park every single time. And although it hasn't happened every single time, he poses that type of threat.
Yeah, there's nothing else you can say about him. Like, just the threat that he could send it out the park, like, is just enough. I honestly, I'm with y'all. I want to see a great competitive World Series. I really do. Does that mean we're gonna get what we want? Probably not.
No.
I'm one of those believers, man. I'm sorry. I've just because I've seen it. I've seen it. We've all seen it. It's just like the Chiefs, man. It's just sometimes there is just too much talent to overcome. You can have the best schemes. You can do all the scouting that you want. Sometimes there is such a thing as having too much talent to overcome. I think this Dodgers team is just stacked. And honestly, I don't see anybody beating them in the series. I just can't. I've seen Ohtani basically have a terrible series and then have one of the greatest postseason performances I've ever seen in my life. That may have been the greatest sports performance I have ever seen in my life. Never heard anything like that. So you to strike out 10 batters and then go up and hit 3 home runs. Yeah, you got it. You got it for me.
I seen someone say that's the equivalent of throwing for 300 yards with 3 touchdowns and getting a forced fumble in a pick six.
Yeah, but that just goes to show you that you can't, like, you may have him down for maybe a couple of games, but just to show that he can turn it on just like that. That's the scary part. And then you still have the rest of that lineup that can also affect the game. Like I said, Freddie Freeman's older now, and he's still affecting the game. Mookie Betts still affecting the game. If those are your top 3 players, you basically have the best, like a big 3, the best big 3 in baseball, general. Oh, yeah, I want to hear this.
You brought up the Chiefs, who the Dodgers really remind me of, are the KD Steph Warriors when everybody was healthy. That's what they really remind me of.
That's what I was thinking when you said it. I was thinking, like, I said they really remind me of KD Warriors.
That's probably the best one. Yeah. I give you that.
Like coming into the season, people was like, okay, we know who's gonna win the championship this year, y'all. And that's kind of, I feel like, the aura that the Dodgers had. Like, coming into the season, it was like, okay, y'all, we know who's going to win it. We just got to play it for the formality, but we know who's going to win it. And that's kind of what the Warriors had when KD was there for those 3 years.
Let me ask y'all one question, and I really want to know y'all's answer on this. and I'm pretty sure I brought it up before. I'm gonna do it again. I don't care. Will we? It doesn't have to be now. Will we at some point see a salary cap be initiated in
Oh,
baseball?
I was just about to ask y'all that because I know y'all are really the best. I enjoy baseball and I watch baseball and I'm a fan of baseball, but I know y'all the baseball heads. And when I look at stuff like what the Dodgers are doing, and it just always bring me back to salary cap. And I know X, you talk about how with the Lakers having new management and how they go do things based on like how the Dodgers did things, but it's like technically they can't. You can't just go buy all the best players and get all the best players and put them on the Lakers. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that like the Dodgers can do that. So it's just like even if it's a soft cap, it's some type of cap, and it's gonna be a high luxury. Even if you got the money to pay it, you're not trying to pay that every single year. And even with that, the second apron is coming to effect where it's still stopping a lot of that. So to go back to with the baseball thing, I always been an advocate of having at least a soft cap, maybe not a hard cap like the NBA, and low key. I mean, not like the NFL, and low key the NBA kind of introducing the hard cap with the second apron. Like they not calling it a hard cap, but it's low key a hard cap now. The NBA is low key a hard cap league now, and the NFL been a hard cap league for as long as I can remember. I don't ever remember the NBA being a soft cap league. Forever the NBA was soft cap, NFL was hard cap, but now both of them are, and I feel like it's time for the MLB to kind of get into that now. But do I think it's going to happen? No. Only reason I don't think it's going to happen is because no other sport in America is built on tradition like MLB. They so stuck on how traditional things are done, and they may tweak things here and there, add stuff here and there to make it more exciting, to make it more appealing to the younger crowd. But I feel like in this foundation, they just used to things being a certain way, and they just let things be a certain way. Would I like it? Yes. Do I think it's gonna happen? No.
Look, we'll have to wait and see, and we'll get to World Series predictions in just a moment. But I don't have the words to describe what Shohei Ohtani did in Game 4 of the NLCS. There are some people that you call generational, and then there's just the indescribable. And what he did in that Game 4 was just indescribable. The only other time I think in our lifetime we'll see that happen again is if he's the person who does it again. And I don't doubt that he will go out there and do it again because we saw him do it before. So stick around. We're going to give you our World Series predictions a little later. But y'all brought up the Kansas City Chiefs, man. And I apologize to everybody in the AFC that thought that you had a chance this season. Time's up. They're back. They've got everybody back into the fold. They brought Rashee Rice back on Sunday, and he hadn't played football in more than a year. And it was like a hand in a glove. 10 targets. They got him to football. He made differences. It opened up the offense even more. And we got a vintage Patrick Mahomes performance. He never went anywhere, by the way, folks. And we told you that last week. Patrick Mahomes and his greatness never went anywhere. It was the weapons around him. Guys weren't staying healthy. Things had diminished a little bit. Don't worry about it. They're back now. And Andy Reid is about to unlock the entire toolbox on everybody.
I'm not worrying about the Kansas City Chiefs. Not one thing I will say is Patrick Mahomes is the greatest quarterback I ever seen. Granted, not taking that from him, can't take it from him. He earned it and he wears that title proudly. In the AFC, the teams that we thought were going to be the juggernaut teams: Baltimore Ravens, frauds this season at least, injuries. Buffalo Bills, decent, but they got their flaws as well. Bengals, cooked. Joe Burrow's out. Outside of that, it's no one else in the AFC we thought coming into the season was going to put up a good fight against the Kansas City Chiefs. Now we got the teams here that's doing good. You got the Colts that's 6-1. You know what I'm saying? Got the New England Patriots 5-2. Got the Broncos 5-2. Got the ex Steelers 4-2. You know, and you got the Chargers who beat the Patriots and who beat the Chiefs at 4-3. So you got teams out there, but none of those teams. If I am the Chiefs walking into a playoff a playoff game, I will pick any of those teams over the Kansas City Chiefs. The competition for the Chiefs is going to be if they make it to the Super Bowl. Now, in the NFC, I'm going to be honest. It's a few teams out there that I will pick to give the Chiefs at least a run or at least some type of competition, mainly because the NFC is built on rosters, the AFC is built on quarterback play. If you go down to the top teams in the AFC normally we base those on who their quarterback is and can that guy stand up against Patrick Mahomes. In the NFC, we got the Eagles who have a complete roster. We're not comparing Jalen Hurts to Patrick Mahomes. They just have a complete roster. The team that we already talked about, your team that you covered, the Bucks. We're not comparing Baker to Patrick Mahomes, but they have a complete roster. Another team, they dealing with injuries, but they still been winning because they have a complete roster. The San Francisco 49ers. And then the last team, who I haven't mentioned, but has players everywhere, and who just put on the show last week with maybe the best running back in the NFL right now, and Gibbs with the Detroit Lions, who dealing with injuries still, but still putting out showing. So I feel like the best thing that's going to come to stop the Chiefs is going to be in the Super Bowl. I don't see any team in the AFC stopping them because all those teams have some type of flaws somewhere. They don't have complete rosters. And the ones that you may think do, I just can't bring myself to believe a team led by Daniel Jones is going to do anything in the playoffs. I'm sorry. I just can't let myself believe that. I have to see it to believe it. And outside of Daniel Jones, I can't let myself believe a team that led by Bo Nix, who's a good player, is going to do anything in the playoffs. So that's my whole trepidation. The only people I thought could do something against Patrick, and I'm done when I say this, was Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Justin Herbert. And all three of those teams have their flaws right now. So I don't know what's going on. But the Chiefs are the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes is the man. And they probably gonna make it to the Super Bowl again. But I'm gonna wait to see who come out the NFC before I say I'm gonna crown them the champs.
You left one team out of that, and I'm surprised that you did, and that would be the Los Angeles Rams.
Oh yeah. That just is a messed up. But Rams too, complete roster. And they got I'm not about to have a debate about if I think Matthew Stafford is elite or not. I think he's a bit overrated, but I'm not about to have a debate on that. But yeah, the Rams too. Throw them in there as well. I just forgot about them. But those teams are like in the Seahawks. A lot of they got some talented roster teams over there in the NFC, and I just feel like I believe one of those teams will be the team to win the championship, and I think it's going to be just like last year that Patrick Mahomes' magic is going to get his team to the Super Bowl, but one of those teams that have players everywhere is going to be him when he gets to the Super Bowl. It's kind of like, and I know X don't like this guy. I don't want to put that on you. I'm just joking, but it's kind of like LeBron James carrying the undersized, under-deserving team to the finals, and when they get to the finals and play a complete squad, it's just too much for even LeBron James to overcome. And I think that's what's going to happen with Patrick Mahomes.
KB, what are your thoughts on the Chiefs before we touch on these awful Raiders? Because we do need to talk about them a little bit.
Man, these boys. When I say these boys, I'm talking about the rest of the NFL. They in trouble. This was the worst fear. This was the worst fear that they were going to be, stay afloat just enough until they got all their weapons back. And now it's looking more and more likely they're going to have home field throughout the playoffs. I do see them coming back and winning this division. I'm not impressed by either the Chargers or the Broncos lately to say that they will win this division. So, yeah, they folks done messed up. I guarantee the Broncos won't do what they did against the Giants to the Chiefs. I guarantee that. I would put money on that. I guarantee if they do that ever again, that will not happen against Patrick Mahomes. They'll never have to worry about that again. But I do think that the Chiefs in their stride, they got everybody back. Rashee Rice looks like he hasn't missed a beat. Xavier Worthy hasn't missed a beat. And then like I said, those guys coming back phase guys out like Hollywood Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster, and they're still on the roster. So they got the pieces. They have the weapons. And Travis Kelce, he still can do what he can do in in certain spots, but he doesn't have to be the Travis Kelce old to affect the game anymore. So the way I'm looking at it now is Chiefs are the favorite, and not just the favorite in the AFC, they're the favorite in the NFL right now. Until I see anything come out of the NFC that would show me otherwise, because like Matt was saying, Daniel Jones and the Colts, as much as I'm impressed by what they're doing, that postseason is a whole different monster. And I can't go into a postseason game and say I fear Daniel Jones. I may fear a little bit of Jonathan Taylor, but if I got Patrick Mahomes, I really have no worries. If I have Andy Reid, I have no worries. I'm betting on the experience that we have over the non-experience that you don't have to get us where we need. And I swear, and I've been saying this for a while now, if any team has to come into Arrowhead, it's not looking likely that they're going to come out Arrowhead with a win. I just don't see a team going in there and beating them. Like I said, we had a few contenders that we thought were going to be great, like Buffalo, Baltimore, maybe even LA at the beginning of the season. But all that has kind of fizzled out now with injuries and with just, bad play overall in the past couple of weeks. Kansas City is the favorite right now. And honestly, I think this is bad because teams had a chance to keep them down underwater. Even with their weapons coming back, they had a chance to keep them underwater, but they kind of let them hang around for a little bit. Now they have the division in play. Now they can actually see a path to the number one seed in the in the AFC West. So with all this in play, I don't see how you can look at any other team as possibly beating them in the playoffs or the Super Bowl. I think they're going to go back to the Super Bowl, and honestly, they're heavy favorites to win it this year.
I understand where you're coming from right there, but look, let's touch on the Raiders really quickly before we close out this segment, because if we're going to give Bill Belichick that smoke every single week for how he's been looking as a coach this season, and obviously college is a different game than the NFL, Pete Carroll looks awful right now in Las Vegas. It's like both of them need to just go back to the retirement chair, go back to being an analyst or something after this season. Your days on the sideline are over. The Raiders put up nothing in this game. Goose egg, donut, 0. And that offense, I don't understand how you have a weapon like Ashton Jeanty, who when you have used him at times, has shown that he can be effective, and you're still not using him. Geno Smith, the feel-good story is officially over, bro. What you did those few years in Seattle, that's officially over with. I don't know that Kenny Pickett is the answer for them to go to as well, but I just wanted to touch on that. Oh, also the fact that we are hearing rumors now that the Dallas Cowboys have officially reached out to the Raiders this week trying to acquire Max Crosby. I honestly don't know where they should go from here, but Pete Carroll will not be back in Las Vegas next year, if you ask me.
What? You think they have 5 Pete Carroll?
Matt, this looks terrible. I'm not even just talking about the results that are happening out there. They don't look buttoned up as a football team at all.
Nah, yeah, true. That'd be crazy if they fire Pete though.
But are y'all surprised though? I mean, look at how Geno's looked this year. Like he has looked terrible. I guess they did when they wrote him off. I guess they did like back now because he was garbage. I mean, like that offense. It just doesn't look like it. It just has no flow to it. Like you have a weapon in Ashton Jeanty, but like this is why I said sometimes it does matter to the situation you're drafted to more than being in. That you could be the number one pick, but if you're drafted to a terrible situation, there is nothing that you can do to make your situation better. There's nothing Ashton Jeanty can do to make anything about the Raiders better at this point. They're terrible. No wonder Jacoby Myers wants a trade. He's firmly stated that he wants a trade. He recently was asked, is he still looking at being traded? He said, definitely, for sure. I'm definitely ready to go. Like that's just a bad sign.
Josh Jacobs got it out there too.
Yeah, but
last year.
And you usually see guys kind of like, even if they want to be traded, they'll kind of subliminally hint at being traded. Now you got guys publicly saying, I want to be traded. Please get me out of here. That's just not a good sign for the Raiders.
Yeah, that's not a good sign at all. That's horrible, actually.
Ashton Jeanty only carried the ball 6 times on Sunday for 21 yards Absolutely ridiculous. All right, man, we got to get to some final notes here, some game predictions. We got Thursday night football coming up this week. We got the Vikings going to LA to take on the Chargers. Look, I know it's easy to pick the Chargers in this spot. They're the favorites going in by 3.5 points. I don't know who Minnesota's quarterback is going to be just yet. We don't know if J.J. McCarthy is back yet. I'm going to pick the Chargers to win this game slightly, fellas, but I think it's going to be a low-scoring affair with Brian Flores' defense going out there and putting pressure on Justin Herbert. Give me the Chargers to win this one by a final score of 20-16.
I actually got the Vikings winning that one. Yeah, definitely. You talking like the Vikings, like they ain't got a good squad. X, you don't believe in the Vikings?
It's not the squad, it's the quarterback play that I don't believe in.
Oh, Carson? You don't believe in a resurgence of Carson Wentz?
I do not. I am officially off that bandwagon.
Nah, I definitely think the Vikings can pull this one off. Really, not even just saying that. I like the Vikings. I like Kevin. I like JJ. Hopefully, well, Justin Jefferson, not the JJ quarterback, just JJJ. But I like JJ McCarthy too. I think he can play pretty good too. So we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, but I'm a big fan of Brian and his schemes that he schemed up for the defensive side. So I'm definitely going Vikings.
Yeah, I gotta go Chargers on this one. I like it. That's really the whole thing for me, and it's been the whole thing for me. The inconsistency at quarterback is just like when you don't know who's gonna play because I haven't been impressed really with the few games I saw JJ McCarthy or Carson Wentz. I haven't been impressed. And for that reason, I'm picking the Chargers. I'll go with a final score of 24-21.
The 49ers and the Texans take the field in Houston on Sunday. This is a big game for the Houston Texans. They are 2-4 so far this season. If they want to keep pace in the AFC South and even the wild card race for that matter, this is one of those games they have to win. And I know that the 49ers probably surprised some people on Sunday with no Fred Warner, no Nick Bosa, still no Brandon Ayuk. They barely got George Kittle back in this game. Christian McCaffrey woke up. I don't know if that's going to continue as he goes up against the likes of a defense led by Derek Stingley Jr. and Will Anderson Jr. I'm going to pick Houston to get this one. They're favored to win it anyway. I think that some might view it as an upset. We don't know if Brock Purdy is going to play yet, but I'm going to pick Houston to win this one. Matt, I think you guys find a way to squeeze this one out 23-21.
I'm looking at every single player eyes right now. Every single player on the Houston Texans right now. I'm looking in your eyes. Sit up while I'm talking to you. I'm looking at all of it. I'm telling you right now, we 2-4. This is a prove it or lose it type of situation right now. If y'all don't go out there and prove yourself and win this game, the season's going to be lost. This is a prove it or lose it type of situation right now. We can't fall 2-5, and we won't come back from being 2-5. We back-to-back AFC South champions. We won playoff games in back-to-back seasons. This is not the way, and this is not the standard of which we have upheld the last few seasons. So I'm looking at all y'all in your eyes and I'm asking y'all to just give me one. And we worry about the second one tomorrow. But today, I just need one. So give me the Houston Texans.
KB, before you answer that, let me just ask Matt this question because Fire D'Amico was trending a lot on Twitter. I'm not going to touch on that. That's absolutely ridiculous. But the offensive coordinator that you currently have in Houston, do you believe in him or do you think that he should be one and done?
One and done. One and done. And the guy that should replace him is in Miami. Yes, bring him. I know I said Detroit. I said Detroit to say Detroit. Detroit got a good offensive coordinator, and they're not getting rid of him. But the guy in Miami, we need him in Houston. We need him in Houston, and we need that running back from Notre Dame in Houston next year too. Mr. Love. We need some brotherly love in Houston next season.
Well, it just might happen, KB.
Yeah, this was actually my surprise pick of the week. I do have the Texans winning. I think it's a must win. I do think that, with the pieces that are missing on San Francisco side on both offense and defense, I think that, Houston's going to take advantage of those. I think that they're going to run the ball pretty effective against San Francisco, and I think that they should have a way to squeak this one out. I'm going to go with a final score of 23-14.
All right, we got the Packers and the Steelers on Sunday Night Football. I think this is Aaron Rodgers' first time going up against his former team since he left the Packers back at the end of the 2022 season. If I'm wrong, forgive me for that one, but this one's happening in Pittsburgh. Packers are 3.5-point favorites coming in. I got to roll with Micah Parsons in that defense, y'all. Micah Parsons that the Packers paid for, he showed up against Arizona in week 7. And I expect that to continue against the average offensive line of the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday night. Give me the Packers 26 to the Steelers 20.
Oh, yeah, I'm 100% agreeing with you, X. Give me the Packers. Same score. Shout out to Aaron Rodgers, but, yeah, give me the Packers.
Yeah, I'm with y'all as well. I'm gonna go with the same score as well because I'm not really too convinced with the Steelers just yet. I think that they still got a lot to show for me to even want to ride with them as much as like a lot of people.
All right, one last topic that we'll touch on here, and that's the Lions and the Bucks from Monday Night Football, but not so much the game. I had a chance to have an experience on Monday night. Look, Tampa Bay, they went in, they got thumped 24-9. Baker and company, they didn't look the way that they have for most of the season. They lost Mike Evans, unfortunately. Detroit, Jahmyr Gibbs, they absolutely chopped Tampa Bay's defense off. The Lions, they look like a heavy favorite right now in the NFC, the way that they're balling, but I want to touch on something I got to do on Monday, having a chance to do a pregame and post show of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Monday Night Football with my station here in Sarasota in a sports department that didn't even exist 3 years ago. I want to bring this up because I want to say to anybody out there who is going through it right now, you're going through the trials and tribulations of your career. You don't know exactly where you'll end up. Stay in there. Keep fighting. And if you're a believer, put your trust in God. Let him order your steps. Be obedient even when it doesn't make sense, because I truly feel like, because Matt touched on it a little earlier, I'll go in a little deeper on it because Matt has seen the highs and lows of my career. There have been days I have came into our group chat and I'm like, man, I am about to leave. I'm about to look for somewhere else to go because things just weren't looking up. But, you stick with it and you be obedient and you be faithful and you'll be rewarded. And I just truly feel that that is a testament and a testimony to the hard work that I put in, but the way that God has put the right people in my path. And just a shout out to everybody at ABC 7 here in Sarasota for what we were able to put on Monday night. Really appreciate you guys and looking forward to the next one that we get to do.
Congrats, man. Great. Keep up the great work.
I appreciate that, brother. KB, you have any thoughts you want to close out with here?
Nah, man, just want to say congratulations, bro. I wish you, more success, more blessings to you. And you touched on something that I think a lot of people needed to hear, especially me. I'm in the same type of situation, trying to find that light at the end of the tunnel. So, just hearing that other people going through the same exact experiences that I have, it's kind of, making me feel like I ain't alone in this fight. It is a mental, struggle just as much as you may physically be going through it, but you just gotta, stay true to the process, keep your head down and just, believe in God.
I think that, we come up in a generation that is a popcorn type of generation where it's, and I'm not saying this is us necessarily, but we see so many examples of it. People who want everything right now in the moment. But what you find out as you're going through the process is that maybe it's just certain things that you're not ready for. Trust me, when I came out of college, I wanted to be in the spot that I'm in right now, but I know for a fact I was not ready for it then. I had to stay down. I had to learn the ropes. I had to do certain things, but I'm very happy to be in the position that I am now. And God willing, this is only just a beginning. And once again, to everybody out there, just keep your head down, keep working, keep the faith. You're going to get to where you want to go to.
Amen to that.
Well, that will do it for this edition of the Why Not Us, Why Not Now podcast. We appreciate Matt for joining us in this episode. It's not the last time y'all will hear from him. Me and KB will be back next week as we break down what's going on in the sports world. KB, can you believe that at this point next week, we're going to have the NBA going, the World Series going to be going, football season in the middle of things, and we might even touch on a little of hockey depending on what's happening in that world too.
Hey, man, like I've said before, this is my favorite time of the year. Nothing beats this time. So I'm looking forward to touching on all those topics. I'm looking forward to just seeing what the last half of this year brings us with sports, and what brings us even closer to growing this platform. I think that we started out with a dream, and now we're realizing more of it day by day. So it's honestly just a good thing to see. Matt's been instrumental in helping us build this platform as well. Him coming on and assisting us with some of these episodes. So I appreciate you as well, bro. And X, like I said, I'm just looking forward to it all.
Yes, sir. And if y'all want to hear more of what Matt has to say on any of these topics, you can go find him on all of the podcast platforms with the Open Strive podcast. I've had a chance to be a guest on there a few times. He does great work over there. But go and take a listen at some of what he's broken down throughout the years, too. But this is going to do it for this episode of Why Not Us, Why Not Now? For Matt and KB, it's X, and we're saying peace.
Peace.